First contact gone wrong. The red dust of Mars swirled around supply ship 217 as it descended toward Mars Colony 1. Captain Sarah Chen watched through the view screen, frowning at the readings on her display. Something wasn't right. Base, this is supply 217. We're getting strange power readings from Outpost 23. Please confirm, she said into her radio. Static crackled back. That was odd. Communications were usually crystal clear. After 3 more attempts, Sarah turned to her co-pilot, James. We need to check it out. Outpost 23 is on our route anyway. James nodded, adjusting their course. The small supply ship changed direction, its engines humming as they flew over the rocky Martian landscape. Outpost 23 was supposed to be a simple research station, home to 12 scientists studying Mars rocks. As they got closer, both pilots could see that the outpost's lights were off. No power signatures, James reported. No movement either. Sarah landed their ship carefully next to the outpost. Both of them put on their spacesuits, checking each other's seals twice before stepping out onto the red surface. The outpost's airlock was sealed but operational. They cycled through it following standard procedure. Inside, the helmet lights revealed an empty station. No signs of struggle, no damage. The scientists were just gone. Their equipment was still there, some coffee cups still half full, now frozen solid. Look at this, James called out, pointing his light at the wall. Strange symbols had been carved into the metal, curves and lines that didn't match any human language. Sarah took pictures with her suit's camera. Command needs to see this. Let's check the computer logs. But before they could reach the main computer, a radio signal broke through their static. Keep out. This territory belongs to Free Colony. Final warning. The voice was human but used words they'd never heard before. Free Colony. There weren't supposed to be any other human settlements on Mars except the official ones. Sarah and James rushed back to their ship, but as they reached the airlock, 3 figures appeared on a nearby ridge. They wore strange spacesuits, nothing like the standard Earth designs. The suits seemed to shimmer, partially blending with the Martian landscape. This is Captain Chen of Earth's Mars Colony 1. Identify yourselves, Sarah broadcast. The answer came in the form of a bright energy beam that struck the ground near their feet, melting the red rock into glass. The mysterious figures carried weapons unlike anything Earth had made. Get to the ship, Sarah shouted. They ran, their boots kicking up red dust. More energy beams lit up the darkness around them. James reached the ship first, starting the engines while Sarah provided cover with their ship's small defensive laser, a tool meant for clearing space debris, not combat. The ship lifted off just as the strange figures reached the outpost. Through the view screen, Sarah and James watched in shock as the 3 figures simply vanished, their shimmering suits making them invisible against the Martian rocks. Sarah's hands shook as she sent an emergency signal to Mars Colony 1. Command, we have a situation. There are other humans on Mars, armed with advanced technology. They call themselves Free Colony. Outpost 23 crew is missing. We have evidence of non-Earth symbols and were fired upon. Request immediate military response. The reply came quickly. Return to base immediately. Do not engage if you encounter them again. As they flew back, James checked the pictures they'd taken. The strange symbols seemed to glow faintly in the images, but that was impossible. He zoomed in closer, and for a second, the symbols seemed to change shape on their own. Sarah, he said quietly, I don't think those symbols are human at all. Sarah looked at the images, her face pale behind her helmet visor. Command's not going to like this. Not one bit. They flew the rest of the way in silence, both thinking the same thing. The 12 missing scientists, the advanced weapons, the strange symbols, and a mysterious free colony. Mars was no longer just humanity's scientific outpost. It had become something far more dangerous. As Mars Colony 1 appeared on the horizon, its familiar domes gleaming in the sunlight, Sarah made a final log entry. First contact with unknown human colony established. Result: hostile. The situation on Mars has changed forever. Little did they know, this was only the beginning of a conflict that would change the course of human history, both on Earth and on Mars. Hidden technology. General Adams stared at the holographic display in Mars Colony 1's command center. The recovered footage from Sarah and James's suit cameras played on loop, showing those strange, shimmering suits that seemed to melt into the landscape. "Play it again," he ordered. "Focus on the weapons." The footage zoomed in on the moment the energy beam struck the Martian soil. Scientists had collected samples of the glass-like material it created. Nothing in Earth's arsenal could do that. "Sir," a young analyst named Maya rushed in, holding a tablet. "You need to see this. We found something in the colony archives, something that was classified 50 years ago." The files told an incredible story. 50 years ago, a secret Mars mission had gone dark. Everyone thought the ship and its crew of 30 had been lost, but they hadn't died, they'd chosen to disappear. "They found something out there," Maya explained, her voice shaking with excitement. The mission logs mentioned artifacts, technology that wasn't human or modern. They stopped reporting back to Earth after that. The general's face turned grim. "Those 30 people, they're Free Colonies founders." "Yes, sir, and there's more." Maya pulled up thermal scans of the Martian polar region. "We've detected heat signatures deep under the ice, massive ones. We think they've been mining down there all this time. Mining for more alien tech." A loud alarm suddenly blared through the colony. On the main screen, dozens of signals appeared, approaching from the polar region. The signals moved like nothing they'd seen before, zigzagging impossible patterns, too fast for normal engines. "Multiple contacts," the radar operator shouted. "They're using some kind of, sir, they're facing in and out of our sensors." The general grabbed the command radio. "This is Mars Colony 1 to approaching vessels. Identify yourselves immediately." A cold voice answered, distorted but clear. "This is Free Colony Command. For 50 years, we've protected Mars's greatest secret. We gave you a chance to leave. You ignored our warning." The radar operator's eyes went wide. "Sir, energy spikes from all contact points." "Battle stations," the general ordered. "Get our defense grid." But before he could finish, every light in Mars Colony 1 flickered and died. In the darkness, Maya's tablet still worked, showing the thermal scans of those massive heat signatures under the ice. For a second, she thought she saw the same strange symbols that Sarah and James had found, scrolling across her screen on their own. The voice from Free Colony spoke again. "This is your final warning. Leave Mars or witness power you can't imagine. You have 24 hours. As emergency power slowly came back on, the general turned to Maya. "Get me everything you can find about those artifacts. And find Sarah and James. If Free Colony came from a 50-year-old mission, we need to know what kind of technology they've been developing all this time." In the medical bay, Sarah and James were already making a discovery of their own. The pictures they'd taken of the strange symbols had changed. Now they showed what looked like a map, pointing to something deep beneath the Martian surface, something huge. "The symbols," Sarah whispered, "they're not just writing, they're alive." James nodded, his face pale. "And I think they're trying to tell us something both Earth and Free Colony need to know." Outside, the Martian sky had turned strange colors as Free Colony's ships hovered over Mars Colony 1, their advanced technology making them look like stars that had fallen from the sky. The 24-hour countdown had begun. The race to understand Mars's hidden technology had begun, and humanity's future hung in the balance. Battle for Mars. Red emergency lights flashed throughout Mars Colony 1 as evacuation alarms blared. The 24-hour deadline was up, and Free Colony's ships still darkened the Martian sky above them. "Move, move," Sarah shouted, helping civilians toward the emergency shuttles. The colony's massive dome trembled as something powerful scanned them from above. The strange symbols from the outpost had spread, now appearing on every screen in the colony, pulsing with an eerie light. James rushed through the crowded corridors, carrying Maya's tablet. "Sarah, the symbols, they're not just a map. They're instructions." Before he could explain more, the first attack came. It wasn't anything they expected. Instead of explosions or energy beams, waves of strange light swept through the colony. Every piece of Earth technology they touched simply stopped. Computers shut down, engines died, even their advanced spacesuits went dark. But Maya's tablet, covered in alien symbols, kept working. "They're not trying to kill us," Maya realized, her eyes wide. "They're showing us how powerless our technology is against theirs." Through the dome's transparent panels, they watched Free Colony troops approach. Their shimmering suits now shifted colors like living rainbows, and they walked through the colony's walls as if they were made of air. General Adams grabbed the colony's last working radio, an old simple device that somehow survived the technology-killing wave. "All personnel, fall back to Section C, and someone explain how they're walking through solid walls." That's when James noticed something odd. The alien symbols on Maya's tablet changed whenever Free Colony used their advanced tech. "They're not just instructions," he gasped. "They're code. The aliens left behind the source code for their technology." Sarah grabbed the tablet, her hands shaking with excitement. "If we can read it, maybe we can hack it." Maya's fingers flew across the tablet's surface. The symbols, they respond to human thought patterns. That's why they keep changing. They're trying to teach us. In the chaos of evacuation, the three of them worked frantically to understand the alien code. Outside, Free Colony troops were systematically shutting down every section of Mars Colony 1. Then Maya cracked it. "Got it," she shouted. "James, Sarah, put your hands on the tablet." The moment they touched it, the alien symbols flowed from the screen onto their skin like glowing tattoos. Knowledge flooded their minds. How to manipulate energy fields, how to phase through matter, how the aliens had built their technology to respond to conscious thought. Sarah raised her hand, concentrating hard. A shimmering field, just like Free Colony's suits, formed around her. It's like learning a new language. A language that controls reality. James tried next, focusing on a nearby wall. His hand passed right through it. "They've had 50 years to learn this. We've got minutes." "Then we better learn fast," Maya said, as more Free Colony troops phased through the walls. What followed was the strangest battle in human history. Free Colony troops, masters of alien tech, against three humans desperately learning to use that same technology on the fly. Walls became meaningless as both sides phased through them. Energy fields clashed in rainbow explosions. The very laws of physics seemed to bend. But Free Colony hadn't expected anyone else to access their technology. They certainly hadn't expected three quick learners with nothing to lose. Sarah managed to reactivate the colony's systems, breaking through Free Colony's shutdown wave. James found he could redirect their phase-shifting technology, trapping several Free Colony troops inside walls when they tried to phase through them. Then Maya made the biggest discovery of all. On her tablet, a new set of symbols appeared, larger and more complex than anything they'd seen. They pointed to something massive buried deep beneath the Martian polar ice. "That's their secret," she whispered. "That's what they've been protecting all these years." The battle paused as both sides felt it, a deep vibration coming from beneath the planet's surface. The alien symbols glowed brighter than ever, and a vast ancient system began to wake up. Mars itself was responding to the conflict, and neither Earth forces nor Free Colony were prepared for what would happen next. The true purpose of the alien artifacts was about to be revealed, and it would change everything both colonies thought they knew about Mars. The ancient weapon. The ground beneath Mars Colony 1 wouldn't stop shaking. Deep beneath the red planet's surface, something ancient was stirring to life. Maya's tablet displayed a new set of alien symbols, more complex than ever before. They spread across the walls, floors, and ceilings, turning the entire colony into a massive display of flowing alien script. Both Earth forces and Free Colony troops stopped fighting, transfixed by the sight. "It's a countdown," Maya whispered, watching the symbols pulse. But counting down to what? They didn't have to wait long to find out. A massive circular section of Mars's polar ice simply vanished, phased out of existence by technology far beyond anything even Free Colony had mastered. From the depths rose a structure that defied explanation, a towering spire of shifting metal and energy, its surface covered in the same living symbols they'd been studying. "That's impossible," breathed Commander Reed, the leader of the Free Colony forces. "We've been studying the artifacts for 50 years. There was never any sign of something this big." Sarah noticed something strange about the symbols on her skin. They were pulling her toward the spire. "It wants us to go there," she said. "All of us." General Adams shook his head. "It could be a trap." "With respect, sir," James interrupted, "I think if it wanted to trap us, it wouldn't have needed all this. This is an invitation." Both colonies' forces watched in awe as transport platforms materialized around them, flat discs of energy that hummed with power. The alien symbols made their meaning clear: step on or be left behind. What choice did they have? Representatives from both colonies stepped onto the platforms. Sarah, James, Maya, General Adams, and Commander Reed found themselves on the same disc, rising toward the spire's peak. The inside of the spire was a single vast chamber. At its center floated a sphere of pure energy, surrounded by rings of rotating symbols. But these weren't like the teaching symbols they'd encountered before. These were commands that could reshape Mars itself. "This is why we had to protect it," Commander Reed explained, his voice filled with awe. 50 years ago, we discovered this wasn't just alien technology. It's a terraforming engine. It could turn Mars into a second Earth. Or destroy it completely," Maya added, reading the symbols. "This isn't just a terraforming engine. It's a planetary defense system. The aliens left it here to protect Mars from something." The sphere pulsed, projecting images around them. They watched in horror as the story played out. Another solar system, another civilization, and something dark moving between the stars. Something that consumed worlds. "They're coming here," Sarah realized. "The aliens didn't abandon this technology. They left it for us to find, to prepare us." But there was a problem. The defense system needed a unified command structure. It would only work if humanity worked together. If Earth forces and Free Colony continued fighting, the system would interpret them as a threat and activate its failsafe, destroying Mars to prevent the technology from falling into the wrong hands. James looked at the symbols still glowing on his skin. "We have hours, maybe minutes, to decide. Work together or lose everything." That's when they heard it, a sound that shouldn't have been possible in Mars's thin atmosphere. Like massive wings beating against the sky, the symbols showed them what the alien sensors were detecting: dark shapes, moving past Neptune's orbit, heading inward toward the sun. They weren't alone in the solar system anymore, and they had to make their choice before the visitors arrived. The fate of not just Mars, but possibly Earth itself, now rested on whether two divided human colonies could find a way to trust each other. The alien defense system hummed with power, waiting for their decision. And in the darkness between the planets, something was watching. Something that had destroyed civilizations far more advanced than humanity. Something that was about to test whether humans could overcome their differences in time to face an enemy they never knew existed. The true purpose of Mars's ancient weapon was about to be revealed, and it was far more important than anyone had imagined. The Watchers. The alien defense system's sphere pulsed with urgent warnings. The dark shapes moving past Neptune had accelerated, and the symbols showed them something terrifying. These weren't ships. They were living shadows, creatures that existed in multiple dimensions at once. "Look at Jupiter," Maya whispered, pointing at the holographic display the spire had created. Strange lights danced around Jupiter's moons, lights that shouldn't have been there. Commander Reed's face went pale. We're not alone. We've never been alone. The sphere projected new images, showing them the truth. Jupiter's moons had been home to observation posts for thousands of years. Not from the dark creatures approaching, but from someone else, the Watchers. As if responding to this revelation, new signals began broadcasting from Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. They weren't trying to hide anymore. This is the Guardian Council of Sol, a voice transmitted in perfect English, though it had harmonics no human voice could produce. We have watched humanity's development since you first looked up at the stars. Now you face your greatest test. The spire's chamber filled with light as three figures materialized, tall, crystalline beings that seemed to be made of living light. Their bodies shifted colors as they moved, reminding Sarah of Free Colony's phase suits. Your technology, she realized. You're the ones who left it here. The tallest Watcher nodded, its crystalline form chiming softly. We left pieces of our knowledge on Mars, hoping you would find them when you were ready. Free Colony found them early, an accident that has both helped and hindered your species' development. The approaching entities, General Adams stepped forward. What are they? We call them Void Hunters, the second Watcher explained. They consume civilizations that fail to unite in time to face them. For 1,000,000 years, we have helped young species prepare for this moment. Some succeed, many fail. The third Watcher moved to the energy sphere, its crystalline fingers touching the symbols. New images appeared. Other worlds, other species, facing the same test. Some showed worlds united, successfully driving back the Void Hunters. Others showed planets torn apart, their civilizations destroyed not by the Hunters, but by their own inability to work together. That's why the defense system needs unified control, James said. It's not just about the technology, it's about proving we can overcome our differences. Maya's tablet suddenly lit up with new symbols, but these were different. These aren't instructions, she gasped. They're a record. Earth isn't the first civilization to face this test. We're the seventh. The Watchers nodded in unison. 6 species before you discovered our artifacts on their worlds. 3 united and survived. 3 destroyed themselves. Now you face the same choice. Commander Reed stepped forward. Free Colony found these artifacts 50 years ago. Why didn't you reveal yourselves then? The test must be genuine, the first Watcher explained. Each species must prove itself worthy of survival by choosing unity over division. We can warn you, but we cannot fight this battle for you. The sphere pulsed again, more urgently. The Void Hunters had reached Saturn's orbit. Their dark forms were clearer now, massive beings that seemed to fold space itself around them, moving through dimensions humans could barely perceive. Sarah looked at the symbols still glowing on her skin, then at the divided forces of Earth and Free Colony. How much time do we have? Hours, the second Watcher said. The Void Hunters can sense the defense system activating. They will not wait. The third Watcher raised its crystalline hand, creating a display of the entire solar system. But you have an advantage previous species did not. You have already begun to understand our technology, and you have us. The chamber hummed as the Watchers channeled energy into the defense sphere. The symbols around them shifted, showing new possibilities, ways to combine Earth's resources with Free Colony's understanding of alien tech. Unite or perish, the Watchers said in unison. Show us humanity deserves its place among the stars. As if to emphasize their words, Saturn's rings distorted visibly as the Void Hunters passed through them, their very presence warping space-time. The final test had begun. And humanity had mere hours to overcome 50 years of distrust or face extinction together. United we stand. The Void Hunters' approach had turned Mars's sky into a twisted canvas of impossible colors. Reality itself seemed to bend as these interdimensional beings drew closer, now passing the asteroid belt. Inside the ancient spire, Sarah watched as Maya and Free Colony's best engineers worked frantically with the alien symbols. The glowing marks had spread, covering everyone in the room like luminous tribal patterns, each person's unique, but somehow forming a larger, connected design. "There's something we're not seeing," Maya said, frustrated. Her tablet now floated in midair, symbols flowing between it and the central sphere. "The Watchers said we have an advantage, but—" She stopped mid-sentence as James touched one of the symbols on his arm. It flickered, and suddenly the pattern changed on everyone's skin. "The symbols," he breathed. "They're not just instructions or power. They're showing us how to link our minds." The Watchers nodded, their crystalline forms resonating. "Now you begin to understand. The defense system is not a weapon. It is a focal point for unified consciousness." Commander Reese stepped forward, the symbols on his skin pulsing. "That's how Free Colony learned so quickly. We didn't just study the technology, it changed us, made us more connected." "But you stayed isolated," Sarah realized. "The connection was only within Free Colony. That's why the defense system wouldn't fully activate." General Adams looked at his own glowing symbols, then at Reed. "We need everyone, both colonies, working as one mind." The sphere projected an image of the Void Hunters, now close enough to see clearly. They were massive geometric shapes that somehow existed in more dimensions than human eyes could process, leaving trailing shadows of possibility behind them. Where they passed, space itself seemed to unravel. "They don't just destroy worlds," the tallest Watcher explained. "They unwrite reality itself. Only unified consciousness can maintain the structure of space-time against that entropy." Maya's eyes widened. "That's why the previous species failed. It's not about technology or weapons. It's about creating a unified field of consciousness strong enough to hold reality together." As if responding to her understanding, the symbols began to move more quickly, forming new patterns. The sphere's energy reached out, touching everyone in the room. Suddenly, they could feel each other's thoughts, emotions, memories. Sarah experienced 50 years of Free Colony's isolation and discovery. Reed felt Earth's frustration and fear at losing contact with their mission. Every person in the room, from both colonies, began to share their entire lives. "This is how we fight them," James said, his voice mixed with a dozen others as the connection grew stronger. "Not with weapons, but with the combined weight of human consciousness itself." The Watchers began to glow brighter, their crystalline forms resonating with a unified human consciousness emerging in the room. "You have one chance," they said in unison. "When the Void Hunters reach Mars, you must all be as one mind, or reality here will unravel." Through their new shared consciousness, everyone understood the plan at once. The spire wasn't just a defense system, it was a lens, focusing the power of unified consciousness to maintain the structure of space-time itself. But somewhere in their merged minds, a new discovery surfaced. There was something else. Something the Watchers hadn't mentioned. In the depths of their unified consciousness, they glimpsed a truth about the nature of reality itself and humanity's place in it. The Void Hunters weren't just a test. They were part of something larger, something even the Watchers might not fully understand. As Mars's sky continued to twist with impossible colors, humanity faced its moment of truth. There was no more time for secrets or division. It was time to truly understand what it meant to be human, and whether that meaning was strong enough to hold reality together. The final test had begun, but it might not be the test anyone expected. Humanity's choice. The unified consciousness of both colonies flowed through the ancient spire like a river of light. Through their merged minds, they watched as the Void Hunters reached Mars' orbit, their geometric forms folding through dimensions that human eyes were never meant to see. But they weren't just watching with human eyes anymore. "We understand now," they spoke as one voice through Maya's lips. "The Void Hunters aren't destroying reality. They're looking for something, searching through every civilization, every dimension." Through their shared consciousness, amplified by the spire, they could finally see the truth. The Void Hunters were ancient, not just millions, but billions of years old. They were searching for their creators, unwriting reality piece by piece in their eternal quest. The first civilization, Sarah's voice merged with others. The ones who came before even the Watchers, they didn't just create technology, they created consciousness itself. The Watchers' crystalline forms vibrated with new frequency. You see more than we expected, they admitted. Yes, the Void Hunters are searching for the first ones. Each civilization they test is scanned, their unified consciousness examined for traces of their creator's pattern. The sphere in the spire's center pulsed with blinding light as the Void Hunters descended through Mars' atmosphere. Reality buckled around them, dimensions folding and unfolding like cosmic origami. But in that moment of crisis, the unified human consciousness made a discovery in the depths of their shared memory. Hidden in the alien symbols, in the very code of the defense system, they found something extraordinary. The first ones didn't vanish. James's voice resonated with understanding. They became something else. They spread their consciousness throughout all reality, seeding it in every developing species. Through their merged minds, they could feel it, traces of that ancient consciousness, buried deep in human DNA, in the very structure of human thought. Humanity wasn't just being tested, they were being awakened. The Void Hunters sensed it too. Their geometric forms stilled, focusing on the spire with an intensity that threatened to tear reality apart. Commander Reed and General Adams moved as one, their consciousness guiding everyone in the spire. The symbols on their skin blazed with light as they accessed the defense system's true purpose, not to fight, but to remember. "We are what you're looking for," they broadcast to the Void Hunters in a language older than time. Not just us, but every conscious species. The first ones didn't leave. They became us, all of us. The Void Hunters' forms shifted, their geometric patterns aligning with the symbols on human skin. For the first time in billions of years, they found what they were searching for, the consciousness pattern of their creators, hidden in the unified minds of humanity. The Watchers watched in awe as something unprecedented happened. The Void Hunters didn't attack or retreat. They began to resonate with the human consciousness, their ancient forms harmonizing with the spire's energy. This was the real test. Maya understood, not just unity against a threat, but understanding our true nature. We're all connected, humans, Watchers, even the Void Hunters. We're all part of the first one's legacy. The defense system activated, but not as a weapon. The spire became a beacon, broadcasting this understanding throughout the solar system. The symbols on their skin transformed one final time, becoming a new language, one that combined human understanding with the ancient wisdom they'd uncovered. Earth and Free Colony didn't just unite. They became part of something larger, a new step in consciousness evolution. The Void Hunters, their eternal search finally ended, became guardians rather than destroyers. As Mars's sky returned to normal, humanity faced a new dawn. They were no longer just colonists on a red planet. They were conscious inheritors of the greatest legacy in the universe. And somewhere, in the depths of their unified consciousness, they felt the first one's approval. The test wasn't about survival. It was about remembering who they truly were. The real journey was just beginning.